living, breathing.
That was the preface of this book?
That was the first sentence in that book. God is alive, period, line break. And I wept for a long time. There's a line break, right? Yeah.
Yep.
God is alive, boom, enter. And so I spend time in this chapter because there are a few things that are different about my book. One of them is in the book, it's geared toward people who would ascribe to the Christian faith, but I don't say the name Jesus in the book.
Right.
And although I say that name now, during this like dimension of my life, I would call it, and not necessarily a season, but like in this place I was at, it was like he wanted me to honor that, his most original name, and Jesus is not wrong. It's an iteration. It's a cultural iteration of an original name, but there was just something in that, like if in order for you to discover who you are in your name, I want you to honor me for who I am in my name. And it was I spend time in the preface just like unpacking, here's why this book is different. And here's why I say things the way I say it, and it's not an indictment against you and what you believe. It's just me being completely transparent about where I am today.
I love that.
And so...
Yeah, man. I mean, literally, I don't think especially when we first started hearing like some of what Apostle Aaron was saying, I don't think we were at a place where we knew how to take that in.
Yeah.
And so you and I had this, I don't remember how I got the book. I think you just gave it to me one time when I was come down for a trip, or
maybe so.
I can't remember.
I don't remember mailing
but all
it to
I
you.
remember is that I told my wife, I was like, hey, look, I think this Zion thing is a big deal, and I don't really know how to grasp it, but I know Elijah wrote a book on it, and I was like, and my wife doesn't really read a lot.
Yeah.
She's like, she don't even read my books. Like, she's like,
my wife doesn't either.
It's like,
she receives it all firsthand.
Yeah, right. But she's like, Destiny's always like, if you want me to read your book, you read it to me. You be my audio book.
That's right.
So whatever. But yeah, man, like all the color revelation, the seven spirits, understand all that came from your book.
That's amazing, man.
Yep.
Let me say one thing too. I think that what I've been waiting for, because you gave me a word about writing another book. Mm-hmm. Jimmy Lovejoy gave me a separate word about writing another book. A friend of mine, Jacob Ramage, stopped by my house one night, I don't know, maybe a year ago, to gift me with a pen, a special pen that, Ray Hughes has these.
Ray Hughes has the pen.
Beautiful pen.
I
forgot
can't
what it's
think
called.
of the name of the company.
Comes with a postcard that tells a story of a revival tree that they make these pens out of.
Yep.
Well, he stopped by. He was led by the Spirit to bring me a pen at 9:00 at night to my house. I answered the door. He gives me this pen, and he goes, I just felt like the Lord told me to get you this pen. And I told him, well, you don't understand. Another friend of mine via business sent me a message and saying, the Lord said that you're going to write another book, but it's not going to come from your computer. It's going to happen when pen touches paper. And so all these things come. And what I've been feeling is that I know what it felt like to receive this. Mm-hmm. And there's no denying this thing happening in me needs to be recorded. And so I'm almost waiting for the feeling that I got when he gave me some of this stuff that would it's like waking up and, that feeling when that first sip of coffee touches your stomach and that warm feeling goes boom. When it do you drink coffee?
No,
okay.
I don't.
It
but
does that.
I know it. I'll take your word for it.
You wake up, the first sip, you sip it, and then when it goes down, it's sacred, this moment. When it goes down your throat, it hits your stomach, and it feels like this expanding balloon of warm love.
Yes,
from the
liquid
Lord.
love.
Yes. And so that's what it felt like to receive that. And so I've got bits and pieces that I think I might know what I'm going to write about, but I honestly don't, and I'm not in a hurry to figure it out.
Yeah.
But this is
no good book is ever hurried.
Yeah. Yeah.
None. But this was great, man. I'm
but
glad
what's
you wrote
happening in our life though here is so significant that there has to be a scribe.
There has to be
to capture.
Yep.
And not even just for me to reiterate what Damon Thompson is teaching in the form of a book, but to say as a contributing member of this movement and a business owner and a father and a husband. Here's what this is producing in me, and here's what I desire to give to the world.
Yeah.
That's what I want the book to do.
I love it. Hey, welcome to the Family Table Podcast, guys. I'm so excited to be here today with my friend, Elijah Ward. Elijah,
go.
thank you for coming, man.
Thank you for the invite.
Dude,
I'm gassed up.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. For me, I've said this before on this podcast, I think that the family table, the reason why it's called the family table is because services are great, but it's the conversations that kind of settle it, seal it, take it deeper than what you can even process. And so I wanted to make sure that I brought people to the table.
So good.
Friends, family, people that inspire us, challenge us, convict us, all the things that is required for you to grow in the kingdom. And man, I can tell you, dude, watching your journey from afar has been a joy, man. I really mean that. Man. And I think when we first connected, you were tell me, like, this was years ago.
I'll tell you.
Like, you were doing T-shirts. And
I was printing T-shirts.
That's right. That's right.
Funny story, in fact. So my, one of my best friend in the world at the time, we were doing business together, ministry together, all that stuff. We started a T-shirt business.
Yeah, I remember.
And had our sight set on literally taking over the world.
Everybody's going to wear your shirt.
Everybody. Yep. Every baseball team, every band. And so we start this business. The screen printing company didn't survive past 8 months. It was everything about that experience felt in that when you're sitting in it, it felt like a failure. But then when you look at back at it, you realize, man, each of those things that unfolded from that effort, that joint effort, produced something in me that enabled me to succeed today, like where I am today.
That's right.
And so I remember getting connected to you because you had an order for some shirts for a Come Up Here conference.
Yep.
And we printed those shirts and sent them to you, and I'm almost positive I screwed them up.
I don't remember if you did or not.
Yeah, I think
they sold out.
That's
just so
good.
You know,
I'm glad they sold. It was a holy mistake, but I think that I remember being excited because I knew who you were. And then when I was notified by somebody, I can't remember who it was, I think I might have screwed up a little part of the design or something. I was mortified. I was like, this guy's going to hate me. But that's how so that was in 2017.
Yeah.
When we got initially connected.
Yep.
And from there.
No, it was before that.
Was it?
Oh, yeah, dude. I was still living in Cleveland. That conference was a conference in Cleveland, Tennessee.
Okay. Yeah.
That's crazy.
So it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
And then it's been through different ways. So through that business and that connection, and then also obviously through what Pops and the Homestead, previously Carolina Revival, his commitment and your commitment to just honoring Apostle Aaron through the years, we've just been kind of crossing paths here and there.
Yeah, man. And it's cool to be able to to live in the same city. We don't get to see each other a lot. Yeah. We see each other at church. Yeah. I know there's an honor there. There's an appreciation there. There's a, man, we were talking about this earlier before, we can put it in the podcast, but we were just kind of chatting. But I remember you just being here in Mobile, being a son. Apostle Aaron was speaking these mysteries that we did not even know. Desi and I didn't really even know how to digest some of what was being said. And when we would come down here to visit, when Papa Damon would come down to do a weekend or whatever, it was like entering into a whole different world. And so
Absolutely.
We come into the church and there's Hebrew letters on the wall and pictures and colors everywhere, and we're just what is happening here? Not in a negative way. It was just this is
it's overwhelming.
It's different.
Yeah.
And we didn't really know what to do with that. And I remember you wrote this book. What year did you write this book?
I started writing this in 2017. I finished and published it in 2019.
Okay, so
8 years ago. 7 years ago it was published.
So when we planted a church in Covington in 2019. You gave me this book when we visited in 2019. I'm remembering now.
Yeah, okay.
And then my wife does not read books.
Yeah.
She grabs this book, and the next thing you know, she's like sitting with it for days in her creator. She calls it her creator portal.
Yeah.
She's like in this room. She's got all the colors, her paintings. It looked like Apostle Aaron's church, but in her office
Let's
space.
go. Yep.
And
she's a peculiar one.
Oh, yeah.
Heck yeah.
And so she would sit here, and she was like, Mark, you got to read this. And man, I just want to tell you, like, it made a mark on her life to this day. Made a mark on our church's life and releasing creativity. And the colors were such a big deal. And I know they are to people that were touched during those days that we were in Covington by it.
Man.
But I always appreciate, because I feel like I kind of have this on my life. It's like there are people that are called to speak and be the first to like speak a mystery or speak a thing or reveal a new path. But for me, I appreciate people that can take that kind of stuff and go, let me help you give some understanding to this. And so like we would not have been able to receive this had you not wrote this in a way like what you just said a little bit ago before we started this. You're like, the Holy Spirit started dealing with you about like writing this book in a way that if people weren't a part of this, they could still receive it. And dude, you did a phenomenal job with that.
I was very self-conscious about it for, the year that I spent most of my time writing. I knew that it was going to become something. I didn't know what the book was called. I didn't know that it would be published. I just knew this is going to be an important document, I guess. And so I'd be writing, and there were nights when like I'd start writing in my chair in the living room, and my wife would come in and go, "What are you doing?" And I would tell her, "I'm coming to bed in just a few minutes." And she'd say, "It's 6 a.m. What, you're not coming to bed." But that's how like the fire that I carried, moved me to chronicle these things I was seeing and piecing it together. And I remember I got self-conscious about it for a while because I was like, this carries almost like the fingerprints of Apostle Aaron, but it's not Apostle Aaron.
Yeah.
And it carries even some of the fingerprints of Damon Thompson, but it's not Damon. It carries like there's some stuff like I feel so different that I don't fit, but I think I fit because I'm so different in the same.
Yeah.
And so I got self-conscious, and then one day I got a call from a friend of mine from Florida, and he didn't have a clue what I was writing. I had not told anybody I was writing. I get a phone call. He goes, "Hey man, what's up?" Small talk for 30 seconds, and then he says, "Man, the Lord told me to call you and tell you that what you're hearing is the word of the Lord. So be confident." And I was just like, "Are you kidding me?" He said, "Yeah." He gave me this strong sense that you're hearing and seeing some things that you're unsure about. It's the word of the Lord. Don't back down. And so I thought, all right. So I finished that book, and it wasn't like I'd mentioned, I finished it, and then I felt the conviction from the Holy Spirit. And it was, as I was kind of, even like designing the cover and coming up with a name, I felt like the Holy Spirit started just asking me questions. It wasn't condemnation. It was just a desire that I guess he was birthing in me to like make this accessible to people who don't sit in the same room I sit in. Because there's a language.
Yeah.
At the gates of Zion, there was a language.
Like it's an insider language.
It is its own culture.
Yeah.
But my heart for a long time has been for like people. And so there's like in that kind of my expression, even in ministry, like I loved evangelical stuff. I joke, but it's not a joke, but I joke all the time about how I got kicked out of the Dollar General on Dauphin Island Parkway because I preached the gospel in there, and the manager kicked me out and said, "Don't come back." But joke's on her because I've been back. And so I've always had that, like, I think that the Lord gave me this thing that wants people to get it.
Yeah.
Even if it's not what I carry, I just want you to get him.
Yeah.
And if what I can share in my honesty and in my vulnerability gives you a piece of him, then I've effectively, carried out my calling. But I was self-conscious about it for a while, man. I almost felt like I was only writing it for Apostle Aaron at one time because he was so gassed up about it.
Yeah.
But when I would post about, like, I'd make a post on social media about a little piece of it and get like 3 likes. I'm like, oh no. we're not, this is not going to go super good. But then I would like send every chapter when I finished it, I would email it to Apostle Aaron and he would read it. And then he would just kind of tell me, man, this every single time, this is you. Like that's what he didn't say was like, this is right, or this is wrong, or this doesn't reflect my teaching. It was like, Elijah, this is so you. I celebrate it. And then for a while, or right before I published it, he said, I want you to come meet me in my conference room. And so I went in there and he said, I just want you to know I'm so proud of you. And when you publish this, there may be some days where you eat lunch alone, but that's okay because this is you. And it was just like, dude. I needed that permission granting force. Yeah. Like through that oracle that called me and told me it's the word of the Lord. And through my spiritual father saying, this is you. It's strange, but it's you, you know? And so in my mind, I thought maybe this is just for me, like, and maybe it's just for Apostle Aaron, but to actually hear somebody say this blessed my wife and this has, you know, leveraged creativity in my church. Yeah. You know, it blesses me. Like I'm honored that you would even pick it up and read it. Yeah. But to hear that you didn't just read it, it actually created you know, it did something in your heart.
This one is still intact, so it's a good promo if you somebody wants to go look at it. Can they get it on Amazon?
Amazon,
so Zion Here and Now is great, man. I mean, I feel like for people that are creatives, mystics, it's a great book for you to go read. And
I love it, man.
Brought a lot of understanding to me and my wife about things that we were just processing and being open to. And like, I feel like without even trying, when I travel, when I go places, when I speak, which is very seldom in the past 10 years, things are starting to open up again. But 10 years, I felt like anytime I would go out, there was a measure of this that was in me that would release like creativity in the room. Wow. And man, I would get like people that would email and go like, after that service, like you called me out and like I've never painted before and I had a desire and I went and they like paint for the first time and then like actually sell their paintings for money. Wow. And I'm just like, what the heck is going on? You know, people just receiving creativity, writing books, poetry, art. People just get that creativity being released, but that book's a big part of that.
And you know, this just came to me. I released this book in 2019. We started Well House Real Estate in 2019. And so this was done, published in July.
Wow.
And it was like, this was something I needed to complete. And there was almost a creative freedom and expression that came out of me through this because we were able to create this company and start that in 2019. And then that we've been doing that ever since. And I see like some of what I put in this book, I can identify in my life today what is the result of some things I believed in here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know what's interesting is my very first book that I wrote was in 2014, and then it was published through Charisma Media in 2015. And I was so proud of the book. But I think what you're saying about being like, what was the language you used? You were kind of like, when you first put it out, not insecure.
Self-conscious about the depth of it.
Yeah, like, I think that's kind of normal. It's so vulnerable, man. Yeah. Like writing a book is like telling people, okay, you've heard my words. Now you're going to know my thoughts.
You're going to literally.
This is my head. This is my headspace. Yep. And so for those of you that don't know what Elijah's head looks like inside, it's Hebrew colors and words.
Mountains, spirits.
No, but I think that's a normal part of it. But I remember getting my first copy or my author copies. Yeah. And so then I'm like passing it out to people. And there was a lady that was working there in our ministry and she was an intercessor. And so I'm like, hey, check this book out and let me know what you think.
Oh no.
About 3 days later, she walks in my office and she takes my book and just chucks it over my desk and it slides and hits me. And I grab it and she goes, now you'll have to go live it.
Oh, wow. Oh,
now you have to go live it.
That's even bigger than what I thought she was going to say.
Yeah, so like now you're going to have to go live it. And I think it's interesting that you release this book and start the company in 2019 because it's like
living it.
Now you have to go live it.
Yeah.
Like when you write a book, like I always tell people, writing a book is like birthing an idea, a vision, or, you know, whatever that is, but you're literally birthing something. Yeah. I don't think I've ever wrote a book that didn't take me at least 9 months.
Oh yeah.
I'm not trying to be weird about it. I'm just saying that's my experience. every book I wrote, there was almost like a 9-10 month process of like really like, now again, there was countless hours of study and prayer and sermons and other things before that, but like 9 months to really sit there and go, we're going to put all of this and formulate it into a book.
Yeah.
And, but like, it literally is like a book almost enters you into a new season of life.
Yeah, that's right.
It's wild.
And it's also, it can feel almost like imposter syndrome too, because you say all this stuff and then when it's released, it's public. And then you start to, like you said, you've got to live this. But also there's been one element of this that over the past 7 years, I realized, not to be condemned about this, but this is a snapshot. It's like what they talk about in accounting, how the balance sheet is like a snapshot. Shows you account balances, like you've got your assets, liabilities, and equity, and it's a moment in time. This is who I was on July 22nd, 2019.
Right.
And so now that I've grown for 7 years, I carry the blueprints of this, but I'm also like, I am a new person and I have a new snapshot. Like there's a new, and in some ways it's deeper, but also in other ways it is a more accessible, because I've released this and I've also grown in this desire to become more like Yeshua. Yeah. Who could connect with anyone in any situation. And I want to be like, if somebody's going to access the depths of God, you don't get into the deep by skipping the shallow. Like there's got to be some kind of, like, it's like that 0 entry swimming pool, you know? Like, and so I want to be enough of a friend to people who don't know God. Right. And carry enough understanding to teach this to a 5-year-old so that I can introduce somebody into the God who is alive. But I'm a new person, and I think for a while I got kind of guilty about how, like, well, somebody would ask me a question a year after I wrote it, and I'd almost be like, well, that's what the book says, but in my mind I'm thinking there's more to it though, like that I didn't write and I didn't see it at the time. Yeah.
That's called growing. Yeah. That's the only thing that sucks about being an author, is that people try to define you by a book. Yeah. And then you're ever evolving.
That's right. And so, that's a great way to put it.
So like people are like, they read something and then like, for me, it's almost cringe when people tell me like, I read your book in 2015. I'm like, I didn't know who I was. Yeah. I hadn't had my born again experience yet. Yeah. So like that book was while I was in the system. Yes. So like I look back at that and I go, and people are like, yeah, but it was really good. And I'm like, yeah, but there's so much more. That's and right. Yeah. If I could, I'd go back and rewrite it. And maybe I will one day. But like that's the only thing that's tricky about being an author, is if you are actually committed to the kingdom, there's no such thing as, well, I've just settled into this and this is how it's forever going to be. It's like, no. How I defined peace in 2015 is not how I define peace in 2026, or
freedom. Yeah.
How I define ministry, my values. Like I always tell people too, like when I was a young preacher and I took my first spiritual gifts test. Have you ever taken one of those?
No.
Oh my God.
I'm kind of glad though.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't. So everybody, if you're going to be in ministry, if you're going to be in ministry, the big thing in ministry leadership culture at that time was take a spiritual gift test. Find out like what you're gifted at, what you're good
like
at.
the Enneagram.
Yeah. Okay. Or a personality test or whatever. But it's actually like such an indictment on you as a leader, because I was like 22 when I first took it. Yeah. And my mercy gift on a scale of 0 to 100 being good, 10. My mercy gift was a 10.
No mercy.
Brother, by the time, so when I hit 25, 26, we had built, like, we went from like 22 where I was just traveling around preaching at churches and being the cool evangelist. Now we've bought land, we've built this huge gathering place, people are moving in. I've got my teeth kicked in a few times from people in life. Yeah. And then I take that spiritual gift test again when I was 26, and my mercy gift was a 90.
Wow.
And it's like,
wild.
I tell that story just to say, like, people always try to like judge you for what they read about you or sermon they watched from 10 years ago or a book you wrote 6 years ago, 7 years ago now. And it's like, I have moved on.
Yeah.
Which is why you need to write another book.
That's right. And honestly, like what's crazy to me is like I mentioned earlier, I don't know if we were recording yet or not, but like I remember the way it felt to receive this from the Lord. Like I know when God transmits revelation and it collides with my spirit, I know.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't know if that's a developed thing or if just like, because I've had people ask me before, like I had a guy one time, we were sitting at lunch and at the time he was a professional fighter and an atheist. And today he is no longer a professional fighter. He's a fireman, but he's not an atheist. He got rocked in our New Year's services at the Homestead this year.
Come on.
Absolutely rocked. He's an amazing guy. So, around the time I was writing this, I don't know, 6-7 years ago, we had lunch, and and all the time you'll hear me say, "The Lord said, the Lord said," and he'd ask me, he goes, "What do you keep saying like God said?" He's like, do you hear a voice? Like, what do you mean? Mm-hmm. And I said, it's not so much that I hear a voice in my heart; it's that I think a thought, and I almost immediately know that thought came from another source. Like, which is probably why David in Psalm 139 would say something like, how precious your thoughts are to me, O God. Mm-hmm. How vast is the sum of them. Mm-hmm. He just said he thinks the thoughts of another being.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I when I feel these things hit, I know it. And so I knew how this felt when I received it. But when I think about if I were to write another book, I have had another feeling like this. And it's probably the only time I've had a feeling like this in the recent 3 years. And it was about 2 years ago when Pops told me to read a book called On the Incarnation by Saint Athanasius of Alexandria. Mm-hmm. And I read that. I pick up the book, and like we were joking about earlier, I didn't read the whole book. I read the chapter I wanted to read.
We were going through my library in here, and it's like, you've read all these books, right? And I'm like, yeah, right. Yeah. It's like maybe 2 or 3 chapters out of each one.
My favorite chapter based on the table of contents. That's what. But I picked it up, and actually, no, I went to an audiobook, and I listened to it. I listened to the introduction or the first chapter over and over and over
That'll
and over
wreck
and
you.
over
Just
and
the
over
intro.
and over. And the whole thing, the thing that really wrecked me, and I didn't realize that this was the first time I realized that I still viewed the cross as the moment that God was pouring out wrath on the Son. So I guess I realized that there was that penal substitutionary theory of the atonement, I guess is what you'd call it. But I remember reading it, and it said, he opens it up by talking to a spiritual son named Macarius, I think, and then he says, "We must continue in the faith of our holy religion and consider the Word made flesh and his divine appearing in our midst. That mystery the Jews traduce, the Greeks deride, but we adore." And it says that our piety toward him might increase and be multiplied. And so I listened to that one thing, and I realized that, to go deeper in devotion, I can go deeper in considering his appearing in our midst and the Word being made flesh. And so, and then that really started to mess with me. But then there was a few sentences down. He says, I'll never forget, like the first time I heard this is what I felt when it was, he says, "The first fact we must consider is this, that the renewal of the creation was wrought by the self-same Word who made it in the beginning." It was like a bomb went off in my spirit. The renewal of the creation has been wrought by the self-same Word who made it in the beginning.
So good.
And it's like I begin to see, it literally, if I had to make it simple, like God is alive, I would say Jesus is God.
Yeah.
Like God being alive and this, what birthed this entire revelation, now it's like the thing that's catapulting me into more revelation about God, that's awakening me to who I truly am and how I can make an impact on the world around me, is that one statement: Jesus is God.
That's good.
Like Jesus appeared in our midst, but he wasn't like an addendum to the original God who commanded the world into existence. He was the manifestation of the God who desired the world into existence.
That's right.
Yeah. And I think that if I did write something else, it would have to do with the fact that one understanding has rearranged my entire interior world.
Beautiful, man.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Yeah, books are like I try to explain to people. It's like writing a book, like what you've wrote or some books that I've wrote. They're really like received. Like you had like thoughts that you had, but then when you actually sat down and wrote them, sometimes by the time you're done, it didn't even go the way you thought it would go.
Yeah.
Like, and then you step back from it and you go, "Did I write this book?"
Yes, 100%.
Do you ever feel that way?
100%.
Like I would literally have these writing sessions where I would be like, "Okay, today I'm going after this one idea, and we're just going to go." And I had my notes laid out, like this is how this thought works in my brain. It's like, and then you write, and next thing you know, you're like, the journey didn't go like this. Yeah. The journey went.
I know. And it was like, you realize too, there's almost a measure of humility that comes with it, because you're like, I can't be cocky about this. I didn't do this.
I didn't do this.
This was like
exactly how I felt.
He gave it to me.
Yeah,
you know,
it's received.
There's a part of this that I remember, and I still am fascinated by, because I don't remember writing it. But there's a portion, I think, when I'm talking about,
you didn't know this was going to be an author podcast, but here we go.
I guess it is. But after the first 5 chapters that are very spiritual, the 6th chapter, I was asleep on an airplane going from LA back to Mobile, and I woke up and immediately received the blueprint to the 6th chapter. It's like I saw it in a flash. And so I pulled out a piece of paper from my bag and I started scribbling. I still have that piece of paper I scribbled on in my office upstairs at home. And it's called The Age of Dreaming and Building. And I realized all of this revelation about God was intended for us to really see him for who he really is, understand like his plan for the fullness of time, but it awakens us to who we are. When we have those, when we're awakened to that, it enters us into this age where we can dream the way we're supposed to dream and build the way we're supposed to build. And I wrote this thing in here. Part of the blueprint I saw had to do with people throughout history who had a significant impact on technology. But that the impact did not come from them inventing some new thought. They observed what was already happening in creation.
Yeah.
And so, like, you know, I think I mentioned the whole Isaac Newton with the apple that fell. He observed the apple falling. He had the question, can I measure the acceleration of that apple from when it leaves this branch to when it hits the ground? Can we measure that change? And by the time he was 26, he was the inventor of differential calculus.
Wow.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. He was the inventor of differential calculus, and then he turned 26. Like,
wow.
And this came from, in 1665, he was going, I think it was Oxford. They took a whole year off because the plague had swept across Europe. So he took a year off from going to university. He's on his family's farm or their orchard or whatever, and he does what he said he spent the whole year doing mathematical brainstorming. And he's just but the biggest impact came from him observing creation. Same thing with Albert Einstein. He would observe creation. He would have what he called a thought experiment, and then he would try and make sense of it mathematically, what he saw visually, and it would create entire technologies. Like he literally had theories that led to truths that now, like the result of that is our global positioning system, like our GPS on our phone, we can attribute to some of the stuff that Albert Einstein produced. And so like there was another example about airplanes in there, like that, we fly through the air in a metal can going almost the speed of sound, which is scary. Yeah. It's a glorified bottle rocket, as I heard somebody say one time, because this guy observed pressure differences when he sent fluid through a tube and how it changed speeds. And he decided that if you build a wing, an airfoil, where the air has to travel faster over the top than it does on the bottom, when it accelerates, it reduces in pressure and it creates a force called lift. People are just observing what God has done. Yeah. And then we're taking that and we're partnering with it and literally like framing up the future.
Yeah, dude, it's amazing to me. I was thinking back to you saying the conversation you had with the buddy of yours that just got rocked recently.
Yeah.
And he was like, what do you mean, like God said and God saying, and what is that?
Yeah.
I feel like when I was writing one of my books in 2017, I wrote this book on warfare and basically calling out the myths that have come in the Pentecostal
What was it
movement
called again?
Called Liar.
Liar. Okay, yeah. I remember seeing that one.
So I did this whole thing basically reforming the spiritual warfare message.
Wow.
And just going like, here's the finished work thought on that.
Wow.
And a lot of what we've called spiritual warfare is really the Scooby-Doo effect. Like the Scooby-Doo effect is this.
Yeah.
Something freaky, mysterious, weird is going on. We're all scared. And then all of a sudden we take the mask off and find out it's a dysfunctional thinker.
Wow. Yeah.
That's warfare
crazy.
is in the mind. Real warfare
Yes.
is in the mind. Jesus stripped principalities and powers of their authority 2,000 years ago.
Yeah.
So what are we dealing with today? Thoughts,
That's right.
thinking, darkness,
Wrong thinking.
ignorance. Darkness is ignorance.
Yeah.
And so anyways,
Wow.
so I'm processing that and I'm going, man, like I'm walking away from these writing sessions going, that was not me.
Yeah.
And I remember going and talking with Dutch Sheets one time. And I said, sir, can you tell me, I'm really struggling with this. Like in prayer sometimes and in writing sometimes, I'm like, which is me and which is him?
Yeah.
And he said, Mark, there's a place in relationship with God where it's no longer, is that my thought or is that his thought? That's our thought.
Wow. Dude, that's good.
And I've learned to live in that, to go,
Wow.
yeah, like we have walked together enough now where it's not, is that me or is that him?
Yeah.
It's us.
And it requires trust.
Yeah.
Like because the question always enters your mind, like, well, did I hear rightly? Was that really?
Sure.
And there was a time where I tested it, like all the time with other people, just because they wouldn't lie to me.
Yeah.
I mentioned that a couple times in the book. Like I'd get an image of something, and I'd ask somebody like, "Hey, do you have a mother who last year died from a terminal cancer, and she had this kind of hair, and she wore glasses, and I see this image of you beside her in a bed, like a hospital bed, and she's reminding you that she raised you as a kingdom man and to never forget that." And like had a dude in a car dealership trying to sell me a car in tears because I said that to him, and he was like, "That's my mom." And there are other times when I'd be like, "Do you have an uncle named Daryl with a broken leg?" Like, "Nope." Okay. Bye. Like, but I realized
you have to take the risk.
I'm going to just go, like, and I did it enough to like know that, that if I'm wrong, there's grace.
Yeah.
If I'm right, it could empower somebody to change their entire life.
I would rather risk missing it
Yeah.
than miss like what God was trying to do. I'd rather be wrong.
Yeah.
Like I don't mind.
And that's like when you're writing and that thought comes up, I think that I almost kind of like feel safer when I feel like, because like you think God likes to appear and manifest and reveal in ways that kind of like will shake us up at times. I mean, I think the entire narrative of Jesus showing up as the Messiah inside a culture who thought they had God figured out and then wanted to kill him because he appeared as God, but other than what we expected. So we wanted to kill the revelation because it was outside what we had expected for generations. Like, I think I'm learning, thanks to a decade of sitting under Apostle Aaron and many other people, that when God does something that feels other than, it's probably for your own good. Like, it's probably to take you further. And so I remember having that feeling though, writing this, even just being in business in general, like I thought I would go into vocational ministry, like, cause it was so like the fire in my heart, and then getting brought in like into Apostle Aaron's like inner circle. And I was like, man, like this man trusts me enough to like let me speak on his platform. Like this must be my calling. And then all this stuff flips, and now I'm in full-time business. I don't have a seat in ministry, and it's like I expected for myself to go this direction, but it's like God is doing this thing that's other than. And when I finally embraced it, that's when stuff started to get fun, you know? Like when I stopped fighting with what he was trying to do and reveal in me, and embrace the reality that he has designed me for the ministry of the marketplace.
It's good.
I'm like him. I'm like Jesus.
Yeah.
In that I love the 99, but I want to leave the 99.
Yeah.
Like I love the homestead, but I also love like our team at Well House who, there are probably 20 of them that go to homestead, but many of them do not go.
Sure.
None of my clients go to the homestead. I meet contractors, inspectors, appraisers, lenders, people at open houses. None of them know anything about what's going on in the walls of that church. And like, it's my joy to just exist in that context as somebody who could show light, like reveal light to them.
Yeah.
You know?
I was gonna take you back and ask you to talk about like how you were born again and all that.
Yeah.
And maybe we can do that if you'll come back and do another podcast with me.
Oh yeah.
We can do that again. But I think that's where I kind of want to hang our hat today is like, okay, you are inheriting this revelation, you're stewarding revelation too, in this really mysterious place.
Yeah.
And you feel like the Lord's aiming you at ministry. Like, this is going to be my path. And you very well could do that. Like, you're a great speaker and writer. So you can definitely do that. And I'm not saying that won't ever be a part of it.
Sure.
Like, I've learned in the kingdom, you never say never.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
the Lord, just as fast as he flipped you one way, he can flip you the other way, brother. I've been flipped a few times already in a short amount of time. But kind of talk through that process of like, okay, I feel called to this. I'd have no seat for this.
Sure.
But I see this business thing opening up. And like, I don't think your background is money, right?
No.
I don't feel like,
did I come from money?
Yeah.
No.
I don't feel like that.
I am, as a kid, I watched our car get repossessed multiple times, and my mom would like make it fun somehow. She'd be like, "Kids, come here, look. They're taking the car. Like, let's all wave." And we'd wave. Like that's she like, and I love that about her, that she would like make the fact that we're broke fun. She'd be like, "We're having SpaghettiOs," and I'd be like, "Yeah, like
let's go."
And so that's what I came from, and I think that's why like I try and even today like make my kids hyper aware of the fact that God has been so good to us.
Yeah,
you know.
So,
but we can talk through that.
Yeah. So like, you guys have this really amazing, successful real estate company, but like before that, like infancy days where you're still wrestling with, I thought it was gonna maybe look like this, but it's not open up for me.
Yeah.
What was that like for you?
I can tell you exactly what it was like. I was working.
And I say this because there are a lot of people in the kingdom right now that they thought their aim was ministry. Yeah. And God is so moving in the business.
Oh yeah.
Right now. Like kingdom people that are in business right now. Oh yeah. Crazy stories.
Oh, and it's my favorite part too is that there are so many successful, wealthy people in business that you will be side to side with before you know it. Like you'll be sitting at the same table as them.
Sure.
And you'll realize that they're miserable. And then it's like, oh, 100%. My God, now I know why I'm here.
Yeah.
Because this person has no idea who they are.
They're not coming to your church.
Yeah, they're not. But they trust you as a man of influence.
Yep.
And you've obviously got the resources and the reputation. Mm-hmm. So I've got a few things to say about that. And so we got started. We kicked it off. Me and my best friend, Matt White. Mm-hmm. Didn't know we didn't grow up here. So we get started on a word and a revelation from Apostle Aaron to build. Apostle Aaron was not talking about rest. He embodies that revelation in a unique way, but he wasn't teaching it. He was like build. I mean, because of his fatherly like empowerment to do that, I was up all through the night, many nights. I mean, just completely sleep deprived for 2 years of my life because I couldn't imagine going to sleep when God wanted to do so many things through me. And in some ways, I wish I had that back now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that kind of like childlike excitement.
Sure.
So anyways, we get started. We never knew anybody in this area, and we're in a relationship business. So we're already up a creek, right?
Yeah.
So we start our first year, and the whole year, me and him sold like $1.9 million in real estate sales, which is probably in this area, it's about 9 houses maybe.
Okay.
Which is pretty good, but it wasn't taken off like, obviously the way we wanted, but we were just really slow at getting momentum. And so, we felt like the Lord, put a few things in us. One of them being like, don't sacrifice family for the sake of the business, because if you do that to start it, you'll have to do that to maintain it. And then you'll be living your entire life on a sacrifice of family, which is just, it's a nightmare. But we knew who we were through the process though. And so although we were waiting for the promised increase, like the floodgates to open, we knew that part of that was maintaining the integrity of who we were in the process.
That's good.
I love Jesus and I want to serve my community. And if I meet somebody in an open house and they tell me that they have cancer, am I just going to not want to get uncomfortable so I can capture the lead? Or will I stop the stupid business facade to be like, listen, I want to pray for you. This might be strange, but God can heal you. I believe, and to maintain that. And so it was like the first couple years were just being exactly who we know we're created to be and stewarding that culture of just honesty. Like anyone on my team at Well House, there's over 100 people now. They if I'm teaching at church or if I'm at the homestead and they talk to me, it's the same guy that's at the business meeting on the beach, for the company-wide training session. I will not compartmentalize who I am. I will be the same person. And I felt like God honored that. But so anyways, there was a year or two where we're really just trying to build momentum. And I'm kind of and in those early stages, I'll be honest, I was a little bit, is this going to be the thing, or is it going to be something else? Or, am I going to go into ministry? Because I was teaching a lot during that time too. From 2019 to 2022, Apostle Aaron would have me teach a lot at the church. And I think I might have even spoken the last message on a full Sunday before Damon showed up for the shift. And so just a lot, right? Well, anyways, we're building this thing. I'm working another job to make things work. Apostle Aaron calls me at about 10 o'clock on a Tuesday morning. And he don't ever call me unless I'm preaching or he's got something to correct me on, that's how he's like a dad to me, So I walk out of the office and I answer it and he goes, "Hey Elijah, I got to tell you something. This is from Yahweh. And I don't ever do this, but I need to tell you." And I said, "Okay." He said, "What you are building will not thrive until you're all in." And I remember this fear came over me where I was like, but the salary, bills, family. I had been broke for a few years and we had, prayed for money to get groceries to, feed the kids. I'd been through that and I was like, I don't want to put myself out there in a way that would create opportunity for that to happen again.
Sure.
But he told me, he said, I'm telling you, what you're doing, what you're building will not thrive until you're all in. And it was that word from him that shifted this kind of gear in my spirit and prepared me to receive a very similar word from Pops, from Damon Thompson, if you don't know who Pops is, from Damon. And then we went all in, and it was like a terrifying thing. But when we did that in 2022, in 2023, triple digit growth, 2024, triple digit growth, 2025, double digit growth. And then now today we've got over 100 people. And I think last year we did $210 million
it's amazing
in real estate sales. But it wasn't, and here's the thing is it wasn't because I had to sacrifice who I was, because that's the thing about the world is Babylon is very dog eat dog and weird and very like, what's the word? Good old boy,
Yeah, I was going to say that would be the challenge for you and Matt originally in the business is you're in the South and it's the good old boy place and like we've built our thing and we've kind of got our thing and you guys are the new guys coming in.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so when we didn't start acquiring like new agents to grow for a few years, and it was intentional because we knew like this is who we are, this is our culture. And then when you start winning while being honest about who you are, there's something about being around somebody who's honest about who they are and not ashamed that electrifies the room. Like when you get around somebody who's not afraid to be who they are, and then you think like, here's this other successful person who's like, people just in business know how to like put on the face and the mask and the talk and the handshakes and the smiles and the kissing babies and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like they know how to do that.
Yeah, the polish.
Yeah, but it's like but we have completely stewarded a culture I think that is very unique and youthful and faith-filled and energetic, and it has attracted a lot of people. And so I say all of that to say that word from Apostle Aaron was the permission granting force that took me from, I think I feel called to ministry, but we've got this business idea that we feel like the Lord gave us. And like, if the business would thrive, then I would get like the confirmation I needed. But what do you do before you get confirmation? Like how do you believe when you don't have the evidence yet?
True.
And how long will you persist in that place until you see the reward of what you've been hoping for? It reminds me of Thomas in John chapter 20, who's like, no, I refuse to believe that, because they gave him good news. They were like, yo, Jesus is back. And he's like, nah, like it's almost too good to be true. I refuse to believe this until I see this and I see this and I touch this with my own hands. I can't believe. And so then it was 8 days later, he's hanging out with his disciple buddies. And I think this is significant. The Bible says all the doors were locked. He was so like hardened in his heart, in his unbelief, that every passage of access into his heart was locked.
Yeah.
I mean, I really feel like that's what that was painting, that it was like an allegory or whatever you call it. So, but then Jesus appears in their midst and he's like, you know what, if you needed to see here, and he showed him. But I've like my prayer for the past few months has been, and in fact, man, maybe since November, when my wife had an encounter in a dream, she woke up in tears because of this moment where Jesus, I would love to have her share it one day, but Jesus appears to her in our room. I'm wrestling with the kids on the bed, and he appears and he shows her his hands, and she hears that song in her spirit, come touch my hands, come touch my side. Dude, it wrecked her. Like, and so it wrecked me that he would just kind of begin to invite us into this deeper place. Well, after that dream, I got stuck on this thing about Thomas, and now my prayer has just been, Lord, help me in my unbelief. Like if there's something about me that doesn't believe what you are waiting to pour out, and I'm being inhibited by a lack of belief, heal that thing in me that won't believe.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until Apostle Aaron called me as a father and a leader, and he just told me, hey, it was like the grace to believe that it could be good. He said, this thing won't thrive until you're all in. And we went all in, and it has been thriving since.
It's funny you say that. I love that you're like,
sorry.
No, you're good. I love that you're like, the first thing that I heard you say is when you wrote this book, Apostle Aaron was like, that's who you are. This is authentic to you.
Yeah.
Second thing that I hear in your story that you're sharing today is then going all in with that authenticity into what you're building.
Yep.
And that's the gift of fathers in your life is, like they're there to help you with identity and to give you that, like, go for it. This is you, you know? And what do you think? Man, I got so many questions.
Ask.
We're just going to have to do more podcasts.
Yeah, I got time.
I think for me, did you ever consider yourself like an apologist? Like in the early days, like you were evangelistic.
Yeah, well, I really loved listening to good apologists, and I was like, I'd love to be able to talk like that.
Because you had a heart for evangelism.
For people, yeah,
right.
Yeah. And I also was an atheist, for a period of time. Let me mute that call. I was an atheist, and so I know that, like, most people are atheists because of an unwillingness to turn over the stone. I mean, that's really most of what it is. And myself and other people is that it's obviously it's this inflated ego, but also it's just like you haven't even looked yet.
Yeah, it's like I just don't want to do this.
And you're also hurt.
So let me ask you another question.
Okay.
This is like got you on the hot seat here.
Yeah.
Okay, so you loved listening to apologists, but it wasn't because you wanted to be an apologist. You just wanted to be able to reach people with Christ.
Yeah.
Would you consider yourself a mystic?
I would, yes.
Okay, what is that to you?
To me, a mystic is somebody who sees things about God, who he is, maybe even like, if these are the right words, you can help me, ontologically and teleologically, like who he is and what he does. There are a lot of mysteries about that. We've got a lot of great teachers and understanding, but there are people who have a grace to see things that have never been seen, to hear things that have never been heard, and who also have like the gift to communicate that to people who cannot see those things and cannot hear those things, but would be better because of it. Yeah. And so I think a mystic is kind of a combination of a seer, an oracle, but also a teacher, you know?
So let me ask you this. Taking those things, your heart for people, the mystical side of who you are, does that help you in your business?
That's an interesting question. I don't teach the contents of this book.
Sure.
At Well House.
Hey guys, before I sell you this house, let me tell you about the 7 spirits.
I know, right? Yeah, you're going to need to know this.
Yeah.
Wisdom and understanding are holding hands.
Does it help you though?
It has helped me. I wouldn't say that the some of the complex like inner workings of some of this stuff, but the first thing that comes to mind, and I'm sure I could have more if I would like sit on this question for a while, but the first thing that comes to mind is that a big part of what's woven into this book, the mystical things I've seen, I involve in that story Noah. And Noah was a man who is remembered at large as a guy who spent 100 years of his life in toil and building a ship and doing that with little to no promise of any impact culturally, globally. I mean, it was 8 people.
That's it.
8 people that were being saved by this thing he built. And so, but also what's fascinating to me is that he said yes to a whisper, and he built for 100 years, generationally thinking, not financially thinking. He did it with generations in mind, knowing that the impact would be his family.
Yeah.
Here's what I think is fascinating about that. His name Noah is like, I forgot the word, but that it's used, but it's like when a word sounds really close to another word, and so they link them together. The Hebrew word nuach, it literally means rest.
Yeah.
So here's a guy who spent, when he was, another thing that's cool about it is he didn't start building until he was probably 500.
Yeah.
So it's never too late.
Yeah, he was up there.
Yeah, he was up there. But he's remembered as a guy who built a vessel that delivered humanity.
He saved the world.
By building for 100 years. But his name was rest. And when his dad dedicated him after he was born, he said, "This is the one that will deliver us from the toil of our hands." And so for me, that has been maybe like strategically in terms of the tools I use and my strategies to grow my business and stuff. Yeah, maybe not super spiritual in terms of like that, but the principle of of some of these things that are woven into this book, like that moves me to continue building. When I mean, running a business is hard, man. Like
it's challenging.
And then you learn stuff about how much the government wants to take from you that just makes you want to burn stuff down. Like, I'm like, what? We got to pay them how much? Like, they didn't do anything. Yeah. And so, like, there's a lot of like stuff about running a business that's difficult. But I think the fact that he put this revelation in me and this desire to be a builder, to be a dreamer and a builder.
Yeah, I
still think we're establishing a framework.
Yeah.
I think we're building this business is we got a lot of people and we're moving houses, but I still think we're building a launching pad for future.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, business is helping people. So yeah. I think in some ways, maybe what I'm speaking to is maybe not so much practical as it is like your heart posture.
Yes.
Because I mean, for you to do what you do, you have to have a love for people.
Yeah.
And for you to do what you do, especially in how crazy the market has been over the past few years and the, interest rates and all the things it comes with its challenges too, you have to be optimistic. You have to be willing to be creative and to problem solve. And so like, I'll share this word with you and I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. So after January 1 through 7, then we came back, and it was a Friday night, and Damon started talking about eschatology.
Yeah,
and he said something. He said, I don't need you to agree with every nuance of what I'm saying, but what I need you to do is be optimistic.
Yeah,
and
I remember that.
When he said that, I heard the Lord say, and that's what I need, optic mystics.
Oh, wow.
And the Lord was like, for us to navigate into this season that we're going into, this age that we're stepping into.
Yeah.
You have to be able to see things optimistically.
Wow. Yeah.
Like which tells me it's kind of like Isaiah chapter 6. The seraphim come in. Isaiah's in a moment where Israel's backslidden.
Yeah.
The ministry he's about to receive is just basically calling Israel in there, speaking to Israel in a day where they're furthest from God.
Oh, my goodness.
And the seraphim come in this encounter, and this is what they say. Like, Isaiah has plenty of evidence to know Israel's not in a good place. But the seraphim say the whole earth is filled.
Wow.
With the glory of God. That word glory could just be translated goodness.
Wow.
So they're just saying, so the optimistics, they have, this is what I've been mining out, they have seraphim eyes. Mm-hmm. What are seraphim eyes? Well, no matter what I see happening, I still see the earth filled with the goodness of God.
Wow.
And so like, just
That's
kind of
strong,
like,
man.
kind of like the times we've been around each other, the times that we hang out, I feel like you have a really great attitude about life. Wow. Which now I'm finding out your mom celebrating the repos probably helped with that.
Maybe so, yeah. Yeah.
Being optimistic.
Yeah.
That she's helping you all build some resilience and being optimistic. But like you being given permission to be authentic, you being given permission to go all in, and then tie that in with your heart for people, and you're a mystic.
Yeah.
Which I think my simple definition would be of mystic is to see God in everything.
Yes. Dude, I love that.
To just, I mean, that's the
and
best definition I have.
That's why I struggle with people making stuff overly spiritual. Because I think when I wake up and I get ready to present myself to a client who has a need to sell a house, and I give them the red carpet, that feels spiritual to me. Like I feel like
love.
This, I'm serving them,
yes.
Like love. And then on another side of that is to bring in people who desire to have more for their families, who are like, I'm working my butt off. My husband has a full-time job. I want him to be able to not have to work so much so we can spend more time. So we bring these people in who get their real estate license, are dreaming of a better future, just like we dreamed of a better future. and we get to pull them in and like literally mentor them and say, like, one of the things that Matt White talks about at every single business meeting we have, no matter what the topic is, he talks about, what is your goal? How are we going to reverse engineer it? And he pulls out every strategy and idea that he can. He's not withholding something that works for him that he doesn't want someone else to do because it'll get them more. He's like, no. Here's what you can do.
There's more than
you're going to make $100,000 your second year in real estate because you're going to do this. Then you're going to do this. You're going to build this system, and you're going to set your calendar to do that every single month. Mm-hmm. And like, there's this element of, like, to me, that is like, it feels like I'm God in the flesh, like helping, like giving myself. Like I'm pouring out everything I have to make sure that you succeed, because I want you to feel that freedom that I've felt. Like, I think a good way to like remember the story of Paul and Silas. They're in prison and they are singing hymns. Right? They're chained up. They're locked up. They sing hymns. When they're singing and worshiping, the gate breaks open. The chains fall off. And we have, I think, for so long made that story about freedom from chains. Mm-hmm. And it's all about personal freedom. Like, if you will worship, God will set you free.
Yeah.
But the thing about that story, that like it's not about him. It's not about Paul and Silas being set free. It's about them. It's like they had no regard for the prison gate, and they had every regard for the prison guard. It was
true. Like,
literally, they were like, the guard wakes up. He's like, oh crap, everybody left,
because he'll die. They're
going to kill me.
Yep.
But Paul and Silas are like, hey, we're still here. And they focus, even though they had freedom, they focused on, no, we want to bring this guy with us. We don't just want to get out of slavery, financial slavery to a job, whatever, like Babylonian.
So
like,
good, man.
But they're like, no, I don't just want to get out. I want to bring him with me, like that guard. And then it turns out him and his whole family got saved.
Yeah.
And so, like, when we have these big company meetings, like, all of this started when we decided, like, early on, that we would have this culture and we would not shift from that. This is who we are. And so we still have that same culture today. We just have added 100 people with us who are like, they sense that I'm not withholding from you. I want to empower you to make $300,000 this year so that you can have the life that your family dreamed about having.
It's beautiful.
And when I see that, that's spiritual to me.
100%.
When I see their Instagram post that they went on a vacation that was lavish and expensive, and I'm looking at this post, I'm like, that is spiritual to me.
Yeah.
Like the actual transmission of resources from here over into their life, and it's giving their family joy and peace. Like, there was a time in my life where these mysteries were spiritual and they had no practical application. But now I'm graduating into, I carry this, but I want to see the practical.
And the Word became flesh. It's incarnation.
Incarnational.
Yeah.
If that's a word.
Yeah. Well, we made it a word today.
Incarnational.
Let me ask you this. So, all right. So it's 2026.
Yeah.
You started it in 2019. That's when you first started. Do you feel more authentic today in your business robes? And I guess what I'm saying again, because I went back
than when I was mostly in ministry,
thinking
robes.
I was going to just be in ministry.
I do, and it's interesting because I feel like the business robes, that now it is like a part of who I am. Like, and I've been telling my wife this year, she's getting back into selling real estate this year after spending a couple years, like, just, with our son who's about to turn 2. And I've been telling her, like, man, I feel something different about this year. Like, I'm not going to take any days off this year. And at first she was like, I don't like that. Like, I want you to take some days off for family. But I said, no, it's not that. It's, I don't want to take any days off this year from who God created me to be. So no days off doesn't mean grind harder. No days off means wake up with intention every day.
So good.
Wake up and get up earlier, like maybe just a little bit earlier. Have a cup of coffee. Like, I'm not saying wake up and grind. Wake up and have some coffee and like meditate on the Lord. And like, he wrote a book about this day. Maybe wake up and like try and read some of that book. Understand what does he want to happen today. And so I feel more authentic in my business robes today. But I also feel like it's the big picture is to serve the ministry. Like obviously there's a financial part of that. Like, we get to give more. We've been basing mentally in the back of my head, when I see my contribution statement in January, I'm like that. I'm basing my success on contribution statements. Like, because there was a year where I remember I once had a job and got paid that much for the year, but that's what I gave for the year. Yeah. And that to me, I was like, this is a testimony to. That's right. But there's a story. So when, I'm using this to reinforce how business can serve the church. It's very mystical at this point in time. I'm still unpacking it. But after the crucifixion, Jesus had a lot of disciples, right? Like you've got Peter, who was, a fireball, and then you've got John, who was just a lover boy, and he's surrounded by these guys who were fishermen, right? But we learn about a new disciple. After Jesus is nailed to the cross, it says one of Jesus's disciples, Joseph of Arimathea, I think is how you say it. Yeah. He's the one who went, it said he is a rich man. So Joseph was not a fisherman. He might not have been present for all those things that happened. Maybe he wasn't at all of the services because he was a business owner. He's in the marketplace. Maybe he wasn't at every prayer meeting. We didn't hear about him at all through the narrative of his Jesus ministry. But then we hear that Joseph, the rich disciple, is the one who had the resources and the reputation to go before Pilate and to reclaim the body of Christ. It was because of Joseph, like the rich disciple. And again, it still feels mystical, but it feels incredibly significant.
You're protecting and preserving God.
Yeah.
The body of God.
The body of Christ.
Yeah.
And so I have felt like there's because the body, it is the image of the church. That's the word we use to describe the church. So it was the body of Christ that he was going before Pilate to reclaim. But it's also in my mind, it's got to be about the body of Christ. Like when the body of Christ has those people who are walking with Jesus that have great resources and a reputation in the marketplace, and we are trusted and we are respected, what can we do for the body to reclaim it from maybe having been nailed to a tree by religion and the empire? Like, how can we help deliver the body more from out of this captivity? Yeah. Just from our resources and reputation,
It's beautiful, dude.
And I don't have all the answers to that, but I feel like my business robes and becoming who I am, even though I'm imperfect, and I want to really focus on improving in a handful of areas because I'm just still growing,
Yeah, that never stops.
But I do feel more authentic, and I think that's going to empower me to help really lead other people out of financial captivity, so that we can really focus on just resourcing the body of Christ.
That's so good. It's so good. So, man, thank you for having this conversation with me, man. I'm like, we got to do it again.
We got to.
I'm like, there's so many other things I wanted to talk about, but I love it. It was a great conversation. But I want to say this to you, man, my wife and I have talked about this, we love your spirit, your heart, who you are, what you bring to the room. There are people that show up, and when they show up, you can feel it. You're one of those people.
Yeah.
And
wow,
I love your heart. But more importantly, you guys are building a very successful business, and I feel like, at least to me, you're handling it really well.
Yeah.
Because
most days,
I look at your wife though. Here's the fruit of it. Your wife, she just looks like she's having a great time.
Yeah.
And you have some of the cutest kids on the planet. My wife and I talk about that a lot too. I'm like, your babies are
Thanks
beautiful.
to Macy.
Yeah, thank God.
Right.
Yeah, I say the same thing. Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you, Lord.
man, you have a beautiful family, and the books and the business and all of that is great. But like your spirit, your heart, your attitude, your character, and the fruit I see in your family is all that matters.
Wow.
And that's there. You got
Man,
that. So you win.
I appreciate that.
But yeah, man, will you come back and do another one?
I will come back.
Come on.
Yep, that's right. Let's go.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. Again, just thank you all for being a part of these conversations. I think it's so important, Elijah, like your story. Again, so many people that are in ministry. And then we have this weird thing of like, we're either this or that. We have to be this thing or that thing.
Yeah.
And it's like the one identification that we all receive in the body of Christ from the book of Revelation is king priest.
Yes, that's right.
And so like we get to be both. And so like, but there are times though the Lord will have us go deeper down a path. And it seems like the other thing kind of gets not shelved, but it's almost like it's just not what God's moving on that season.
Yeah.
That doesn't make it a less part of who you are.
That's right.
It's just God bringing another part of you to the surface. You brought up Noah a little bit ago. Noah's always known as the ark builder, but when the ark lands, it says, and Noah became a farmer.
Wow, yeah.
And it's like,
That's
so is he an
awesome.
ark builder or a farmer? He's both.
That's right.
That's in him. Those things are in him. And the Lord, like you're not. I guess this would be the part that's super important for me to say to leaders is, you are not less than right now because God's aimed you at something that's outside of the church.
Yes.
Out of vocational ministry. Like it may be that God so believes in you that he would take you out of the comfort of the church for you to be the church.
That's right.
In the culture. And I think that takes a unique group of people to go into Babylon and represent Christ. Because you said it earlier, like it's dog eat dog. Well, that's really like what Jesus' heart is. You're going out as sheep among wolves.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think what you and Matt White are proving, though, is you can be sheepish and win.
Yes. Yeah.
You can be like the lamb,
Like
in
Christ.
in the lion's den, if you will. And God, it works.
Yeah.
It works.
That's right. And it will flourish.
That's
not
right.
just work. You know?
So, dude, we got so much more to talk about. We'll do it again.
I'm going to stop talking because I've got about three. You know?
We'll try to get you in next month.
That sounds good, man.
Man, I really appreciate you. And again, guys, I know that we didn't plan on talking about this at all. I brought this book out just to remind him he signed my copy. But Zion Here and Now, man, was a great book. And remember, when you read it, don't define him by that. That's what he wrote in 2019.
This is who I was 7 years ago. Cut me some slack.
There's more to him than that. But man, I appreciate you, and thanks for being a part of this.
I
today.
love you and I honor you. And I want to say this on record. I was playing drums the other night. You got up to speak at the end of worship and just kind of, is it called exhort?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're exhorting, right? I saw your daughter and her hands were raised and she was looking at you, listening to what you were saying, and she's just shaking her head. Like she's being so moved by what her daddy was saying. And I just thought, that's what I want. I want that. Like I want my kids to look at me the way she looked at you that night. I honor you for that.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, you won.
Yeah, we win, don't we?
We won. Yes, sir.
I appreciate it.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Love you, Mark.
Love you too, man.
This is
Thanks for
good.
that.